Hey my loves! Now I know how hard it can be to get motivated to make dinner, especially after a long day at work. So I've decided to create a new series where I'm going to be sharing great dinner inspiration that can be pulled together really quickly, but is super delicious and super nutritious all at the same time. Today I'm kicking off the series with 3 amazing stuffed vegetable dishes. These are really tasty, really versatile, and of course, as promised, really easy to make. Just before I get to all of that, I did want to mention one thing. The Domestic Geek has been nominated for a Shorty Award in the food category. I am so excited about this honor, and I would really appreciate your support. If you have a few minutes, just give us a vote. It would be amazing if you would. All the details are in the description box below. I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get to some incredible Portobello mushroom pizzas. In this yummy recipe, we are replacing the high-carb pizza crust with a lower-carb portobello mushroom. So I am starting with 6 beautiful portobello mushrooms. I just removed their stems. I'm going to drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil on both sides. I'm gonna season them up with some salt and some pepper. You know, I like to go liberal with my salt and pepper. I'm going to pop those babies in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for between 10 and 15 minutes. The idea is just to get them nice and soft and roasted before you add your toppings. Once they're out of the oven, they are ready to be topped with some tomato sauce. I've got some fresh basil I'm using. I'm also going to top them with some hot peppers because you know how I feel about the heat, but you could leave those hot peppers out if you are not into the heat, that's totally fine. Then I'm going to finish them off with a little bit of mozzarella cheese, some thinly sliced pepperoni, a little more mozzarella cheese, and back into the oven they go for another 5 minutes. And when they come out, they're ooey gooey and delicious. They're ready to be enjoyed. You can make them ahead of time and heat them up for lunch the next day. Super tasty. There's not much room for improvement on these guys, is there? Next up on today's stuffed vegetable extravaganza is some tasty stuffed zucchini. Now this recipe is delicious because this zucchini is stuffed with chili, and what is not to like about that? In this case, I am making what I call a cheater's chili. It's a really fast way to throw together some chili in a hurry. Most chilies are made over long periods of time, but this one comes together in a flash. But before I get to my chili, I'm just going to prepare my zucchini, and I do that simply by cutting my zucchini in half and then using a spoon to remove the seeds. Not to worry, we are not going to waste these seeds. We're going to pop them into our chili. They've got a ton of nutrients, and hey, we don't like to waste things around this kitchen. Once our zucchinis are ready, we're just going to place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet and set them aside. I've got a skillet heating up on the stove over medium-high heat, and to that I'm going to add a good glug of oil. Next, I'm going to add some ground beef and cook it until it is no longer pink, just using the side of my spoon to break it up into little pieces. You could do this with some poultry if you wanted to, or if you wanted to leave the meat out entirely, you could use some veggie grounds or just beans. All of those options work really well. So now that our ground beef has browned up, I've got some onion, super yummy. I am also going to add all the guts from my zucchini so nothing is wasted. I'm going to saute that for another 3 minutes or so, or until that onion starts to soften up, and then it's time to build in some flavor. I've got some minced garlic, some chili powder, and some ground cumin. Ground cumin is one of my very favorite things and a hallmark flavor in any great chili. I'm gonna heat all of that up for 30 seconds or so to get the maximum flavor out of my spices. Once that's all nice and fragrant, it is time to finish this off with some diced tomatoes and some cilantro. We're going to bring this mixture to a simmer, reduce the heat to medium-low, and let it simmer away until almost all the liquid has evaporated and our chili is nice and rich and thick. All of the flavors will be concentrated, so what you end up with is a whole lot of tastiness. And then it is time to stuff our zucchinis, people. If there's anything left over in the pan, you could definitely use some bread to lap all of that goodness up. I'm gonna finish this zucchini off with just a sprinkle of shredded cheese, and into the oven it's gonna go at 375 for about 15 minutes. That time will allow your zucchini to get nice and soft, and of course that cheese will get nice and melted. I'm gonna top this with some chopped cilantro, and it is ready to be enjoyed. How yummy do these look? This recipe is perfect for meal prepping. All you do is hold off on that final bake until you're ready to enjoy them. Finally today, I am making some taco stuffed peppers that I know you guys are going to dig. Of course, like any stuffed pepper, it's really important to start with some beautiful bell peppers. I like to roll them on their sides to see which sides are flat enough to lie properly on my baking sheet. Once I've found the good sides, I always cut them in half and then remove the ribs and the seeds. Now, some people like to slow bake their stuffed peppers, but I have no patience for that. So what I like to do is actually parboil them on the stove. That helps them soften up a little bit and means they can spend less time in the oven afterwards. After 5 minutes, they're nice and soft and flexible. I just lay them out on a parchment-lined baking sheet and set them aside while I work on my filling. In this case, I am using some ground chicken. Once again, you can absolutely leave this recipe vegetarian by leaving the chicken out or by using soy-based veggie grounds instead. I'm going to cook my chicken until it's no longer pink, using the side of a spoon to break it up into nice small pieces. Then it's time to add my onion. I'm gonna saute that onion for about 3 minutes or so before it's time to add some minced garlic and some cooked rice. Now, if you wanted to keep this recipe even lower carb, you could leave this rice out, but I find it really helps to fill you up. You could also replace it with some cooked quinoa instead if you wanted to. That would work just as well. Next, I'm going to stir in some canned black beans that I've just rinsed and drained. I've got some corn, and I've also got some diced tomatoes. I'm going to top all of this off with a few tablespoons of taco seasoning and give it all a good stir. I'm going to simmer it for 2 or 3 minutes or just until the liquid has evaporated, and then it is time to get those peppers stuffed and into the oven. To stuff my peppers, I like just using 2 spoons. It makes it really, really easy. Then I just sprinkle on some cheddar cheese and pop those beauties in the oven for about 10 minutes or so. When they come out, they are ready to be devoured. I like finishing them off with a little sprinkle of fresh cilantro, and there you have it. Dinner is served, my friends. Taco bout, a quick and easy dinner idea. I really hope you guys will give these tasty ideas a try, and if you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Snapchat me a photo because I love seeing your kitchen creations. If there are any dinner ideas you'd like to see in this new dinner series, don't forget to leave those in the comment section below because of course I find a ton of my inspiration because of you. Finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from. And don't forget to vote for me in the Shorty Awards.